Good morning and happy Wednesday. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. I'm your host, Chump Change. This is live and recorded. For those of you that might be new here, what we typically do is go over crypto news or news in general in the space. I update myself, bring you guys along for the ride. Let's see who's in the house and we'll get into this. Mr. Luke, good to see you, buddy. Anyone else think January will be a good month for Caspa? He says. I always think it's going to be a good month for Caspa and then I get disappointed.
Perfect.
No, I'm just kidding. I love Caspa. Caspa will be just fine. Crypto KJ, good to see you. We got DJ Mines in the house. Let's see, 10 minutes to midnight. Zarkov, Leo Lustig, my man Tug Life, good to see you. Let's see, did I say Andrew Prasad? I might have. Nebula, good to see you. Good morning. Savage White, JF. We have Paladin, good morning. Son of a Rabbit, Iguana Bites. Let's see, is there a direct contact point for Tangent? I ordered wallet the day before. They changed it to buy one get one. There must be. You know what, send me a message in Discord and I'll get you in contact with somebody over there. Real quick, let's see, anybody else? No, I don't think I missed anybody. If I did, I apologize. Lucas, what's up, man? All right, let's get into this. Bitcoin, $95,885. Bitcoin's been killing it lately. Are we gonna see 100k soon? Michael Saylor was on CNBC yesterday. We're gonna watch that video today. I haven't seen it yet. Ethereum at $3,700. Look at BNB up 20%. Holy crap, that's crazy. 774 bucks. We got XRP at $2.58, down 6% today. It was kind of expected to have a pullback. The thing was like going nuts for the past couple days. Solana 232 bucks. We get ADA at $1.20. I'm expecting some sort of pullback for ADA as well. They have XRP and ADA have both risen just astronomically in the last like couple days. It's crazy. TRX over here 55% up on the day. Jeez, 37 cents, insane. Caspa at $35.77. That's crazy. Caspa over here at 16 cents. Jeez, everything's going nuts. Everything's going nuts. Absolutely insane. Let's see, Celestia up 8.29% to $8.58. So we have EOS over here. I don't know what this one is. I don't know. 16% up on the day though, $1.36. Dogecoin still holding 41 cents. That's pretty impressive, actually. That's really impressive for Dogecoin. I'm happy it's holding that high. HBAR 32 cents, down almost 10% on the day. Again, kind of expected that one. Also got driven insanely high. All right, let's show a crypto bubble, see what the biggest earner of the day is over here. Looks like TRX Tron 37 cents, almost 38 cents over here, up 57% on the day. That is wild. Second place, we got HTX over here. I don't know what this is. 52 cents. I mean, sorry, rank 52. 52 cents. Yeah, right. Imagine. It's just like thousandths of a penny. Let's see. Nothing really else jumping out at me. I guess sand. I have sand. I like this one right here, 93 cents. Shout out to my man Dan R. He got me into this one. This one's doing really well, actually. I got on this like real cheap. Bam. Ape 20% up on the day. Ape coin. Is anybody into this one? $1.95. Jeez. Bit Tensor 690 bucks. How did I miss? Oh no, I didn't miss it. We saw it. Where is it? Did I see it? Teo. No, I didn't see it today. Oh, it's way down here. 691 bucks. 12%. Jesus, man, everything is looking fantastic. All right, flashbang. Here we go. Fear and Greed Index was 78. That's really good. It only moved 2 notches, or 2 numbers, right? Went up 2 from yesterday. Extreme greed. Again, be greedy when people are fearful, and fearful when people are greedy. That's the famous line of Warren Buffett. Right now, we're in extreme greed, but this is still really low for extreme greed, so it's good. We wanted a nice reset. That's what we needed. All right, top 10 coins by coin market cap over on CoinGecko. We have Bitcoin starting at a $1.9 trillion market cap. We're almost at a $2 trillion market cap. That's amazing. Ethereum is next. XRP in third place at $148 billion market cap. That thing is just went insane. Tether, BNB, Solana, Dogecoin, Cardano, USDC, and Lotto staked Ether is still in 10th place. Wow, I'm shocked Tron didn't jump into 10th. 36 billion to 33 billion Tron. Interesting. Very, very interesting. All right, let's see. How's Caspa doing today? What are we in? What place are we in? 45th place. $4.2 billion market cap at 1648. Not bad. Could be worse. Last 24 hours, it's risen up about a penny. Nice. We need to break all-time high. What's all-time high? It was it 20 cents? Did hit 20 cents. 20% down about 4 months ago. Yeah, we need to break all-time high. That Kraken news tier 1 listing for Caspa was disappointing. It was very disappointing. It's the lowest tier 1 of the exchanges, but it I don't know. We need Coinbase and Binance rumors are here, so that's probably why we're seeing some sort of uptick. Is what it is. Fun comes first, technology comes second. That's how it goes in this crypto space, apparently. Just looking at the meme coins anyways. All right, ASIC miner value. You guys know I like to timestamp this ASIC stuff. We're gonna get into this. AlphaPex DG Hydro 120 gigahash unit making 5880 a day. That's insane. The L9 17 gigahash unit over here making $54 a day. We get the L9 16 gigahashes making $50 a day. Not bad. Looks really good. AL1 Pro 16.6 terahash unit making $38.46 a day. Let's see what Lithium is looking like today. Down 0.5%. 24 hours. At least it's been climbing in the 7-day. It's up about 30 cents. 7-day. I don't know. Lithium is one of those projects. Like I wish it well. It's easy to it's definitely easy to like double, triple, quadruple, 10x its market cap, right? It's only at 159,000 million. But yeah, it's just not, it's not like in the billions yet, right? Like Caspa's at a 4.2 or 4.1 billion right now. It's easily to be doubled, but it's, I don't know. There needs to be more done. I feel like the ASICs kind of ruined it for right now. I hope it comes back really strong. I really do. The AL3 over here, 15 terahash unit makes $34.45 a day. Jeez, that thing's killing it. We got the L7 over here. Let's see, my 9050. I got this thing down at Terra Hosting. Shout out to them. If you guys are interested in hosting, link is in the description. Pay 10 cents per kilowatt hour down there. Again, my 9050 is making $25.12 a day. A 3+ year old machine. Friggin' love it. Absolutely love it. What is that one? BitDeer Seal Miner A2. What is this? Weird. Bitcoin Hydro unit 446 terahash is making $15 a day. How's the S19K actually? I'm gonna search this. S19K. Wow, I'm actually making $2 a day on my S19K. Look at that, at 10 cents per kilowatt hour. Nice.
Perfect.
I'm doing like the cardinal sin. I'm putting my Bitcoin into Caspa. I have this thing going to a mineable. I was taking an L on it anyways. I think the upside potential in Caspa is way bigger than obviously Bitcoin. Just like with the X factor, you know. Let's see, anything else I want to look at? The AL2 Lite over here, 2 terahash unit making $4.51 a day. How is the AL0? The AL Box 2 Plus, I have this thing, 1 terahash unit, 480 watts. We have $1.70 a day.
Bruh.
It's kind of bad. AL Box 2, 720 gigahashes. I got this thing as well, just $1 a day.
Bruh.
Damn, we need a lithium to skyrocket. That's what we need. Where is the AL0? The RX0. Radiant actually had a pump the other day. It's at 50 cents right now. We're on the RX0. 260 gigahashes, 100 watts. It's like a Radiant. What's the price of it? Radiant pumped up. It's to 1/10 of a penny right now. Had a rise over the last week. Yeah, it jumped a decimal point. I mean, it wasn't too much to jump it, but it's still up. That's good. Check out the year. It was down on the year. And it's still down in the 3-month as well. I don't know. Again, this market cap's stupid low. Radiant. I think Radiant, it should do fine. My man Crypto KJ loves it, so we're gonna have to see what happens with it. I gotta buy some more of it today, actually, just so I can have a little bit of a bigger bag. It is on Tangent, by the way. That one's on Tangent. All right, I don't know. I can't find it. Let's go to AL0. I'm just gonna type it in. Let's see what the AL0 gets today. What does it get? There it is. 90 cents a day. Not bad. I probably glanced right by it, but 400 gigahashes at 100 watts. That's not bad. That's not bad for 100 watts to make $1 a day, basically, at 10 cents. It could be way worse. What's the KS0? The KS0 Ultra, 6 cents a day.
Bruh.
All right. I'll just go myself. Let's go to the hashrate.no website. Check out GPUs. Moving on. Aleo. Top of the charts. Zealous. 170HX. But Aleo takes over everything else. All the 40 series. We got Chlor. Oh, wait. Chlor. There was an announcement yesterday. Chlor coming to Tantrum, most likely, which is pretty awesome. I don't know when, but I think it's gonna 13 cents. 13 cents. I bought some the other day. Nice. About a month ago, it was at 6 cents. Man, you guys could have 2x your money already. Wonder if anybody's still into Chlor. Does anybody have Chlor? Let me know in the chat. They actually have a real platform, so that's kind of the plus side of Chlor, and the fact they're coming to Tantrum. That's amazing. Conflux and Pyron. I'm shocked Pyron's still even alive. That thing got rugged by the devs. Yeah, but probably Aleo and Chlor. Those are your two most profitable. Look at Aleo real quick. 0.68% up, or 8% over here now. I don't know why it changes like as soon as you get to this page. Anyways, $1.62 for the 1 month. It's almost up on the 1 month. It's pretty close. Pretty close, like a penny away. Or it is there actually. Nice. All right, looks pretty good. Anyways, all right, moving on. I want to get into this. MicroStrategy's Michael Saylor. We want to bridge traditional capital markets with crypto economy. Let's see what he's got to say over here on CNBC television. This is about 21 hours ago. I haven't had a chance to watch it. Let's do it.
MicroStrategy adding to its Bitcoin hoard, purchasing 15,400 Bitcoin at about $95,000, $96,000 per Bitcoin for a total cost of $1.5 billion. The company's executive chairman tweeted,
what am I doing?
We hodl more than 400,000 Bitcoin. Join us now, Michael Saylor, MicroStrategy executive chairman. Your average, Michael, it's good to have you in studio again. Your average for those 400,000 is 58,000 per Bitcoin, so it's been moving higher as you keep buying at higher prices.
We bought it about 42 times since August of 2020 to today.
From August and at this point, the strategy is to issue stock or convertible debt of MicroStrategy and use that to buy Bitcoin.
We're a Bitcoin treasury company, so we're securitizing Bitcoin. We're providing high-performance equity. We're also providing convertible bonds. We've provided other kinds of bonds in the past, but primarily our job is to bridge the traditional capital markets that want bonds, or they want fixed income, or they want equity, or they want options. And we plug that into the crypto economy, and we use Bitcoin as the vehicle to do that.
What percentage of the public do you think understands Bitcoin at this point? Because I don't know if it helps to go into your strategy, what you just tweeted about. If people don't even understand Bitcoin, and I still see it everywhere, that it's air, or that it's not like gold because you can't make jewelry out of it. Believe it or not, still people saying that because you can't touch it, that it can't be real and it can't represent money. So can we go into how you're arbitraging it to make a return?
Yeah, here's what you need to know.
Okay.
The S&P is about 15 ARR for the past 4 years, and the volatility of the S&P is 15.
Okay.
If you want to own a commodity like silver or soybeans or gold, they have very, very low performance, less than 15%, 5%.
Silver, soybeans, or gold?
0%. You don't really want to hold soybeans for 100 years. And sometimes they have volatility, but it doesn't last that long. Bitcoin is 60 volatility, 60 ARR, and it is a legal commodity, but it is an economic scarcity. It is the only commodity invented in the history of the human race that's absolutely capped. And so that means you can expect it to keep going up. If I can give you a commodity that outperforms the S&P index, if I can give you a commodity that's more volatile than the S&P index, you can put 100% of your liquid assets in that commodity per SEC rules. I can't do it with a security, by the way. So up until Bitcoin, people had to use gold or real estate as their commodity, or they have to use the U.S. Treasury bill. Those are all underperforming the S&P, and they're less volatile. Bitcoin is the first thing you can use in your treasury that's more volatile, that outperforms the S&P. The result is, if I give you a security, Joe, that outperforms the S&P, how much of it do you want to buy? And if you're an ARB or an options trader, and I give you an option that is 4x the volatility of the S&P, or with MicroStrategy, we're 10x the volatility of the S&P. How much of it do you want to trade? So Bitcoin's unique in the history of the capital markets. It's the first scarcity commodity, outperforming the S&P, more volatile than the S&P. that you can put on your balance sheet.
Volatility sometimes is not always a good thing. I mean, it's great when something's going higher. But don't think that there'll be a drop or a significant drop that comes along? Have we moved past that because of the regulatory changes that have taken place?
Doesn't matter.
I think it'll remain volatile because it's a 24/7, 365 global asset. You can panic sell it on Saturday night. You can enthusiastically buy it on Sunday morning. That's a feature. That's not a bug.
Yeah, you've lived through some of the swings, but do you think we won't see the downturns like we've seen in the past just because of the changes we've seen?
I think it's going to surge through the roof, and then it's going to surge to 180 and crash to 140, and people will be freaking out about it again.
Oh, that's his prediction, 180? 180. You guys think it's going to go that high? I don't know. I think once you break 100, like a $1.20, $1.25-ish is probably the range. But if we get over 150, I don't know. Who knows? If breaking 150 would be super hard.
But let me make this one analogy. Volatility is like fire, and some people run away from the fire, but Henry Ford put the fire into a carriage via an engine, created an entire industry, and he gave humanity wings.
Can we talk about? So I've been leading up to for me and for everybody to understand your tweet just from I think in the last hour. So what you do last week with the Treasury operations, you were able to generate a Bitcoin yield of 2.55%, or over almost 10,000 Bitcoin to shareholders using an arbitrage. Can you explain? Will I be able to understand this if you explain this?
We sold $1.5 billion worth of stock, backed by $500 million worth of Bitcoin. We bought back $1.5 billion of Bitcoin. We captured nearly $1 billion gain in the arbitrage. That we can do with equity day by day. When we do it with debt, we issue $3 billion of debt that's backed by $600 million of Bitcoin that comes due in 5 years. We pay 0% interest. We buy $3 billion of Bitcoin. We capture the $2.4 billion in the arbitrage gain up front. But then over the course of the 5 years, we double or we quadruple the investment because we're buying an asset which is appreciating faster than the S&P.
What you told me was that it's 55% premium over conversion, but a zero coupon. Is that
that was a zero coupon 55. Yeah. And you can do that because Bitcoin is high vol, and the companies that have Bitcoin on their balance sheet have even higher volatility. So Mara is a great example. 2 weeks ago, they did a $1 billion convert, zero coupon to buy Bitcoin. This week, they're back in the market doing another $1 billion convert, zero coupon to buy Bitcoin. You can rinse and repeat that frequently.
Oh, man. I wish they would talk to him longer instead of kicking it off so fast. Paladin said, and we're here chasing $2 a day on an ASIC. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't think buying ASICs is the right move right now. If you're interested in a coin, personally, for me, buy the coin. That's what I would do. Grip the miner at heart. I love it. I like money more. I'm not gonna chase $2 a day like you're just saying. It's crazy. You know what I mean? All right. BlackRock acquires HPS. Are you supposed to say it? For $12 billion in major bet on a private credit. Let's see what they got to say over here about BlackRock.
Let's turn to the exploding world of private credit this morning. BlackRock announcing a major deal today, and our Leslie Picker has more on the significance of this one. Morning, LP.
Hey, good morning, CQ. BlackRock with a big bet on private credit, acquiring HPS for $12 billion in an all-stock deal. Now, the combination creates a private credit behemoth with $220 billion in client assets, which would make BlackRock the fifth largest manager of the asset class, according to PitchBook. Now, BlackRock said in the release that it expects the private credit market to more than double to $4.5 trillion by 2030. That bold case is driven by the notion that market forces, technology, and regulation are pushing activity toward private credit, which some see as more efficient than syndicated lending conducted at banks. BlackRock is not alone in that thinking. State Street told the Financial Times last month that it's looking for acquisitions or minority stakes to fortify its private credit offerings. Such tie-ups have become increasingly common among asset managers, insurers, and even large banks recently. But skeptics are plentiful. Some say the burst in private credit popularity is indicative of a bubble. Others say this newfound debt load will lead to a reckoning in the next major downturn. In the meantime, though, public investors seem to be applauding the strategy, sending shares of BlackRock higher today and in recent weeks as news leaked that a transaction was imminent. And look no further than the year-to-date performance of private credit firms Blue Owl and Ares relative to BlackRock to see why the latter is making such a big push here. Private markets and the higher fees they generate have driven BlackRock to do 3 major acquisitions this year, the other 2 being infrastructure firm GIP and private markets data provider Preqin.
Dude, BlackRock's gonna like own the world. Luke in the chat said chump change is 100% or 10,000% correct. Do not buy hardware. You missed that chip. You have to wait to 2026 IMO. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm 100% right there, because it's just it's not worth, like, you see the numbers, right? You see the numbers on all these ASICs, like, yeah, they look sweet, right? Of course it does. But look at it, they're up more now, right? But looking at just the number is foolish, because wait until you get your electric bill. You pay 10 cents per kilowatt hour. Yes, this is your profit, but you're still going to have a diesel electric bill to pay. You know what I mean? It's not going to be fun. At the end of the month, you're going to have to pay a decent amount of electric, so you're going to have to sell to freaking get out of it, right? And then, like, it's just, I don't know. Yeah, you're making money every day, but it's just, it's not, I don't know. It's not worth it, in my opinion, right now, especially paying, like, out the ass for ASICs. That's what you're doing. You're getting hit because the market's going up. These guys charge, like, double for the same machine you could have got, like, last month for, again, half price. All right, Mexican and Canadian tariffs unlikely to go into effect. Let's see what they got to say over here.
A lot to keep you busy these days. And in a weird way, I feel like the market is less sensitive to tariff headlines than it was during the first Trump administration. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that given how much noise there's been around tariffs, given the expectation that, even though some significant tariffs are likely to end up happening, there will also be a lot of negotiation posturing. I think markets are kind of going to need to see the whites of the eyes of Trump's tariff threats before reacting really sharply. And this was our view all through the election cycle, that some of the policy shifts under Trump in terms of regulatory changes were very predictable, would get priced pretty soon after Election Day. Whereas the extent of the uncertainty about tariffs in terms of timing, in terms of scale, would make it fairly hard for markets to kind of price it all in shortly after the election.
You want to hear my little theory, Tobin? That
Sure.
the first Trump administration, I'm sure people tell you their theories all the time. Here's mine. The first Trump administration, every little utterance would provoke big market moves, huge reactions from, whoever the targeted party was. If Trump tweeted he was going to put tariffs on this, that, or the other.
Hold on. I gotta take a screenshot. BTC won't get to 150K. Not this cycle. We gotta timestamp this one. Just in case. You never know. I'm not sure we're going to get there either, but just in case.
This time around, there doesn't seem to be as much of a reaction, leading me to wonder if he's actually going to have to do things that are more aggressive in order to kind of, show that the dog has its bite, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, the current threats against Mexico and Canada look very much like the threats that were made against Mexico in 2019 during Trump's first term, which lasted all of 9 days before an accommodation was reached on immigration and the deal was called off. So, I think this kind of thing, he will need to deliver at some point in order to get those kinds of immediate market reactions. Again, I think there are going to be different kinds of tariff threats over the course of Trump's second term. This kind of very sweeping move against two of our largest and closest trading partners in Mexico and Canada, not the easiest thing to deliver on, but I think down the road we are going to see more credible threats that are facing China, that are sort of more surgically facing different sectors in different countries that markets will react to.
But listen, I can be sympathetic to the idea if the goal is to put tariffs on China and China just routes its goods through Canada and Mexico, then you have to tariff Canada and Mexico in order for those not to become backdoors.
Yeah, and interestingly, that is a point that has been made very explicitly by Jameson Greer, Trump's nominee for USDR. He has explicitly mentioned in testimony to Congress and to federal agencies that we do need to be looking at third countries, hitting them with tariffs where they're incorporating large amounts of Chinese content into their goods, or where they have Chinese firms operating there. So I absolutely agree those concerns, certainly about literal transshipment of that kind, but even about Chinese FDI, more sort of bona fide investment in those countries with China behind it. That's going to be a growing concern.
What do you think is likely on the tariff front with China right off the bat?
I think that it probably will take some time. So in terms of right off the bat, I would not bet on sort of tariffs going into effect in Trump's first 100 days necessarily. I think there will be a need to coordinate with Congress. I think there will be a desire both substantively and optically to negotiate with President Xi. But I think we are eventually heading for tariffs increasing from, right now they're just north of 10% average across the country, probably heading to somewhere in the 30% range. So not all the way to 60 as he mentioned on the campaign trail, but a very material increase in tariffs across China.
I mean, if we were to say that China's suppressing its own currency in order to make its goods artificially cheap is a big problem for the U.S. It kind of forces us to buy their cheap goods. It puts us into excess spending. It's resulted in a big piling up of debt. Wouldn't tariffs be one useful way to try to offset that issue? Because what else can you do? I mean, we could buy the currency back, but you know my point? Like, we're trying to kind of fix some of these imbalances that are of their creation, not ours.
Yeah, no, I think that is absolutely right, that China's economic strategy relies on building what we've characterized as overcapacity, certainly huge, manufacturing capacity. I think that is partially a currency story. A lot of it is just a story of direct subsidy of Chinese firms as well. And, the Trump administration, his campaign, and people around him have argued forcefully that we are not operating in a free trade paradigm right now, given the extent to which they have sort of invested in building up these imbalances. So one way or another, we're going to see a strategy for tackling those from this administration.
Finally, Tobin, what would your kind of takeaway advice be for investors, other than, as you're saying, kind of ignore a lot of the noise? Don't, we always do these baskets of, tariff stocks, this and tariff. So you're kind of saying, look through all of that, at least for a while, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, the single name trades on tariffs are really challenging, but just because there's so much presidential discretion around who gets exclusions. Obviously this is a big bone of contention the first time around, and will be again in this case. But again, I think some of the macro implications of the expectation of higher tariffs in aggregate, I think, make sense as trades you can look forward to now in terms of stronger dollar, for example. And then I think that doing that legwork on who's exposed, I think, is a valuable exercise at this point. Wolf has put together a tariff basket that's a very bottom up exercise that we think is strong. Will any of those companies get exclusions? It's impossible to have total certainty about that until we get closer to it. But knowing who has risk, knowing what those targets are, I think is something that investors can start planning for at this stage.
All right, Tobin, thanks. Appreciate it today. Tobin.
Interesting. All right, shout out to CNBC for that. Intel share falls after CEO exit. CEO left? Let's see what this is about.
Intel shares are extending yesterday's drop. Remember, let's go back to yesterday morning. They had initially popped about 4% on the news of Pat Gelsinger's retirement. But as investors dug further into the issues, they find the challenges maybe run deeper than who's at the helm. They not only closed lower yesterday, they're down almost 6% today. Deirdre Bosa is exploring this angle for us in today's Tech Check. Deirdre, should the board have done more over the years?
I mean, certainly Intel's board deserves a hard look here, not just what the CEOs have done the last 3 or 4. Of the 11 current members, only a few have technical semiconductor experience. Most come from finance backgrounds or from tech companies, but not in technical roles, which raises the question, where is the technical leadership at a company that aspires to be a national chip champion? Take Intel's longest-serving board member, Frank Yeary. He has overseen more than a decade of decline, manufacturing delays, missing the AI and GPU markets, unsuccessful acquisitions, and CEO selections. Yeary's background is in investment and M&A, but now he is the interim executive board chair, a position that's no longer independent and comes with more direct involvement in key decisions. Now, the differences between Intel's leadership and its peers couldn't be more stark, especially after Gelsinger's departure. NVIDIA and AMD have their founders, Jensen Huang and Lisa Su, respectively, as board chairs. AMD's board members, Mark Durkin and Abhi Talwar, they both have engineering backgrounds and experience leading chip companies. Intel, meanwhile, lost a key director in Lip-Bu Tan earlier this year, seen as a technical heft. I'm told by a source that he clashed with Gelsinger, who had the rest of the board's support. Intel, Kelly, as you mentioned, down nearly 6% again today as investors wonder what has really changed, and is the board any better equipped to choose a successful CEO after striking out with the last 3?
And many people are wondering if it kind of continues to keep its the foundry business as well as the design business or not. But CJ Muse made an interesting point here yesterday where he said they can't really separate it and still receive the dollars that they've been given by the government because it was to this combined entity. So again, I wonder if as investors are thinking about how they're stuck between a rock and a hard place, they're realizing there's just they're kind of stuck here.
They are really stuck, and I think that's what the stock is reflecting. I mean, I mentioned Frank Yeary, right now, who is now the interim executive chair. He's a deal guy, so if there's any optimism that he's going to get a deal done, yes, that means potentially giving up the CHIPS Act money and giving up plans to reestablish Intel as a national chip champion. So where do you go from there? That's what the market is asking, and likely the company may need a new board or at least some more technical expertise because remember, Pat Gelsinger was that. Now he's gone.
We're going to talk more about this next hour, but here's my question is to get people thinking about this. What would Elon Musk do if he walked into the company tomorrow? I mean, in all seriousness,
he would fire everyone on the board probably.
That's true. Maybe he would take it in that direction. Deirdre, thanks very much for now. We appreciate it.
Interesting. All right. Reading, oh, get out of this. Reading in the chat real quick. While it is theoretically possible for Bitcoin to reach 120,000 from its current price of approximately $95,946 in a very short time frame, such a rapid price increase would be highly unlikely. Would it though? We just saw XRP, the poo coin of the last cycle. Let me see. Where are we at? XRP just doubled its market cap in like no time, and that's like a whatever coin. You don't think Bitcoin can get to $120,000 easily this cycle? You crazy. You tripping.
Stop the cap.
I think it'll get to 120 for sure. Dude, just the supply crunch itself is unreal. The OTC Bitcoin, it's like they're buying up more in a day. What is it? What was it? Was it MicroStrategy or was it BlackRock? They bought up like the whole next year's supply. Yes, like the other day in chat. I think it was MicroStrategy, if I'm not mistaken. I forget, but they bought like the entire next year's supply of Bitcoin. It's just there's not going to be enough to go around. Once it hits, it's going to be a shitstorm. And yeah, I'm not saying it ain't going to like skyrocket and then come right back down to a certain point, right? Yeah, of course that'll happen. We'll have a peak and then it'll retrace a bit. But I think it'll get to 120 easy. That's just my opinion. Microsoft accuses FTC of leaking news Let's see what this is of its antitrust investigation.
We do have some news out of Microsoft. We'll get to Steve Kovac with that. Steve, what do you got?
Hey there, Scott. No magic
Oh,
tricks.
Microsoft actually is holding. They're going to be holding Bitcoin in their balance sheet, if I'm not mistaken.
For you, that Microsoft is wondering if there's some leaks within the FTC. I got a letter here from one of the deputy counsel lawyers over at Microsoft asking the FTC Inspector General. This is due to our Bloomberg report last week that there is a big antitrust investigation into Microsoft related to artificial intelligence and cloud computing and a number of other things. And this letter from Microsoft's attorney asking the Inspector General to look at whether or not this leak of this investigation is coming from inside the house, so to speak, and also noting that even though the Bloomberg report said there have been some investigative materials passed on to Microsoft, this attorney is saying, or the Microsoft attorney rather, is saying they have not received it and have not received any information about it. I will also note sometimes leaks like this, when we hear about these antitrust investigations, Scott, sometimes, yes, they do come from within the FTC, but another source is also when these investigations happen, they go to rivals. They go to other cloud rivals, for example, in this case, of Microsoft or other productivity rivals of Microsoft. So sometimes leaks come out from rivals of Microsoft who might want to put some damaging color on what they're doing there. But again, we have here, we've asked the FTC for comment on this, but right now the FTC, as of last week, was not commenting on any investigation going on, or antitrust investigation going on with Microsoft. You see Microsoft shares down just a tick here, Scott.
All right, we'll follow it. Steve, thank you.
Interesting. Let's see. So, DDH, is that how you supposed to say your name? I'm not even sure if that is. He said he's been spot on and very close, been in the game for a while, since 2014 onwards. Yes, it'll get to 120K, but not 120K in minutes like the guys. Oh, no. No. I don't think it'll get to 120K in minutes. That's not, yeah, no. It's just, overall, it's going to get to 120K. That would be my opinion. The liquidity crunch is legit. Like, there isn't going to be enough to go around. And this time, I know you've been in since like 2014 or whenever. It is severely different with institutional adoption. It is so much different than anybody is going to expect. I mean, who knows? Anything can happen. It is Bitcoin, but it's just, there's way more big players in the game now than there was when you started this. You know what I mean? The AI revolution is now coming to Salesforce. See what they got to say over here.
Dan, it's great to have you back on the show. Listen, they missed on the bottom line, but they did better on the top line. It looks like their full fiscal year revenue guidance is slightly stronger than expected, too. But I think the top line, it really seems like that's the focus here, because this is one of those tech names where there's been a lot of concern over the last couple of years about how much they can grow their sales. And here it is, 8% year over year. Is that what's driving the stock higher?
Yeah, look, Goldilocks quarter, because it also shows the AI revolution, the software piece, is now coming to Salesforce. And you look at they've had issues clearly over the last year. I think it's a get out the popcorn moment. This is the start, not just for Salesforce, but for software, a huge moment where we are in the AI revolution.
So in light of that, how much then is going to hinge on the commentary and the guidance we have relating to Agentforce specifically?
Oh, I think that's front and center. I mean, that's the gold at the end of the rainbow in terms of Agentforce. I think that could ultimately be $5-6 billion a year as this all plays out. Hearing from Benioff is very important in terms of what they're seeing from a demand perspective. But Morgan, we've talked about it. I mean, all of our checks are showing this is just the start. This is going to be a renaissance of growth for Benioff and Salesforce. This is a stock I think has massive upside over the next year.
Dan, current remaining performance obligations up 10%. Speaks well of the pipeline, but why don't you care about this bottom line miss?
Yeah, I think, John, right now, you want to see them just focus on spending, especially when it comes to what they're building out, from an AI perspective. I think that was an issue that they had 6 months ago. So even though bottom line and margins was an issue if you go back a year and a half, 2 years ago, no longer. I mean, right now, this is a phenomenal balance of growth. You look at what we see going forward, double-digit type growth. I mean, I think this is actually a stock that starts to get re-rated. And broader, the software piece of the AI party now comes. It's not just Oracle. Now it's Salesforce, ServiceNow, many others, of course, led by the Messi of AI, Palantir.
So it's interesting you say that, Dan, because Pure Storage also has some costs kind of spinning up a hyperscaler deal that they're involved with. We're going to hear from the CEO on that in just a minute. Should investors get used to the idea, beyond the hyperscalers themselves, of companies having to spend, Salesforce, Pure, to capture that AI opportunity?
Yeah, and that's made a phenomenal interview on the Pure Storage, because I think what it shows, it's about these second, third, fourth derivatives. We're talking about the biggest tech trend in the last 40 to 50 years. So investors, the street, they're fine if you're spending, if you're seeing the growth and you're seeing the deal flow. But now it's not just about Mag 7, and those are going to continue to do phenomenal. It's about where in software, in cyber, in storage. It just shows now this AI party, you have the rest of tech come, which is why our view, tech stocks are up another 20% next year. This is just the beginning in terms of what we're seeing. Tonight's a huge night.
Interesting. All right. I don't know that we're going to cut them off like that. All right. Let's see. Blockchain Association CEO discusses hopes for 2025 crypto legislation. Let's see what they got to say over here on CNBC television. This is yesterday.
Today, the XRP rally cools after being 10 cents shy of $3 earlier this morning. And Kristen Smith of the Blockchain Association shares her hopes for crypto legislation in 2025. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Brandon Gomez. Crypto markets in the red this morning. As of noon Eastern, Bitcoin lost 1% and was trading at $95,100. Ether fell 2% to $3,553, while XRP retreated 8% to $2.52 after being just 10 cents shy from $3 earlier today.
XRP killed it.
All right, jumping right into our main story, Crypto World's Con Oz spoke with Kristen Smith, CEO of the Blockchain Association. They discussed a letter she signed on behalf of the advocacy group listing crypto-related priorities for President-elect Trump and the incoming Congress. She also shared some examples of crypto legislation she would like to see progress in 2025.
All right, Kristen, thank you for joining. I don't think we've had you on since before the election, and now we're about a month past, and recently the Blockchain Association sent a letter to President-elect Trump and the incoming Congress that goes over some crypto-related priorities that you hope to see in the first 100 days. A part of that was calling for new leadership at the IRS and Treasury. I believe it was the same day the letter was submitted that Trump actually announced Scott Bessent as his pick for Treasury Secretary. And then following that pick, I saw headlines calling him crypto-friendly or pro-crypto. I'm just wondering, does Bessent's nomination satisfy that demand? And what are you hoping to see out of the new leadership there?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on, Con. I think we're really excited about the outcome of the election because we will have the most pro-crypto White House and pro-crypto Congress that we've ever seen. So I think the industry has turned a corner. But yes, now we need to get forward with the work of actually working through and establishing what the public policy regulatory framework is going to be. And having the right personnel in the right seats at the agencies is critically important to that. I think we're really excited about Scott Bessent. He has been very much vocal and aligned with the president-elect's outlook that he wants the U.S. to be the crypto capital of the world. And so we think that that's a really good start. And now we're going to be looking to see who he appoints to positions like Deputy Treasury Secretary or Undersecretary for TFI, some of the positions that are really going to be hands-on in figuring out crypto policy on behalf of the Trump administration.
And I also want to ask about the SEC with Chair Gary Gensler stepping down. Specifically, your thoughts on the future of that agency. What do you hope to see from the next leadership in regards to crypto? And I'm wondering, too, where do you think a lot of these ongoing lawsuits between the agency and crypto firms will end up?
Yeah, well, the SEC has been our biggest problem as an industry. We've really felt boxed in a corner and haven't been able to have real discussions about how we can find the right regulatory environment for crypto. And instead, we've seen this regulation by enforcement approach that has been incredibly disruptive and has pushed a lot of the innovation offshore. And so what we're hopeful is that whoever comes in to the SEC will put a stay on any new litigation and find a way to resolve, either outright dismiss or settle the ongoing litigation across the industry. There have been over 100 enforcement actions towards crypto in Gary Gensler's term. And so we need to get that cleaned up and out of the way. But moreover, I think there are a lot of things that the SEC can do today within their existing authority that would provide a framework to make it easier for new projects to go out and raise money and to build here in the United States. And so I think through no action letters and different rulemakings and the exemptive process at the SEC, we'll be able to get a good framework in place. We still need Congress to step in because the crypto markets that are commodities like Bitcoin don't have a regulator today. And so the SEC wouldn't have a role to play there. But we need Congress to work on filling in the gaps in the regulatory framework. But there's a lot the SEC can do in the meantime.
And I'm wondering, is there a name that you're willing to say right now that you hope to see fill that position?
I mean, I think we want somebody in there who is has experience with the crypto industry and who sees this as one of the signature initiatives for the SEC in the coming years.
I want to also take a step back for a second.
In short, no, I don't want to tell you a name.
Because it's easy to get lost in the day-to-day coverage, especially around elections and shakeups in Washington. What I've noticed is that there's a bit of disparity between polls from and funded by the industry versus independent research that shows different levels of interest, even trust in crypto among Americans. So in your advocacy and in your conversations with lawmakers, what are you seeing in terms of broad adoption?
Well, I do think when we look at the polling on both sides, it is clear that people are upset with the way the current system works, whether that be the financial system or big tech. People feel like it's not working for them. And a lot of people associate crypto currency, the crypto community, the crypto industry as an alternative to the world that's not serving them today. And so I think that is something that it's a very primal thing to want to feel left out and to want to have a system work for you. And so we see that translate into activism across the country. There are advocates with Stand With Crypto. I think it's close to 2 million today that are talking to candidates and talking to the members of Congress. And, I think that policymakers realize that this is a technology that's not going away. It's something that people want, and that now is the time to fill the gaps that we have in the regulatory system so that the U.S. can be a leader. So as I said before, I think we've really turned a corner. The government is not out to get crypto. It's here to support it.
And my last question for you, the industry is expecting a friendlier Congress to come in. Of course, making new policy, implementing it takes a lot of time. So what's your outlook for crypto legislation, let's say in 2025?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a great year for crypto legislation. We saw a lot of groundwork over the past Congress. Last spring we saw the House, entire House voted on legislation that aimed to look at some of the market structure problems. I think the Senate did a lot of work behind the scenes over the summer. And so the foundation is there. What we need to do in 2025 is really come together as an industry and work with Congress around something that everyone agrees to and get that across the finish line. I think we need it for market regulation. I think we need it for stablecoins. And we probably need to do something that really protects self-custody and the rights of software developers. I think this is supposed to be in the law today, but we've seen a couple times where agencies have tried to challenge this. And so I think there's a real opportunity. I think Congress is excited about it. A few years ago, they didn't fully understand it. Their constituents weren't talking to them about it. That has changed. This is an issue that they're hearing about on the campaign trails and in their town hall meetings. And I think that this is going to be the year that we finally get legislation done.
Yeah, this year is going to be crazy. Trump's administration is going to be legit the most bullish thing for crypto ever, right? Intersad said, can you imagine no taxes on XRP or ADA? The real FOMO hasn't even kicked in yet. Yeah, dude, if he does do no tax on crypto, going to the moon. Going to the moon with a little XRP, the truth behind the price explosion. Let's see what Mr. Lark Davis got to say. If you guys don't know who he is, go check him out. He's got 600,000 subs. He is a very intelligent guy in the space. Let's do it.
XRP.
Speed him up.
Here is the truth behind the recent price explosion, as well as a bit of a warning about the price currently. Okay, so let's go ahead and get straight into the topic of what the heck is going on with XRP. What are the big catalysts right now driving the price of XRP so damn high? And can it really keep going higher from here, or is it time for a bit of caution? Let's get it. So first and foremost, congratulations to XRP holders. You guys have been slaying it recently. This thing is actually now almost up, hit yesterday, almost 500% up. Absolutely crazy. What a run. One for the record books. And as Alo here points out, says, raise your target, start bull posting ridiculous numbers. The XRP army have shown you the way. Delete the valuation ceilings from your brain. Dream bigger. Absolutely. XRP added $150 billion in market cap this month. And you think that some of your coins aren't going to go crazy. Oh yeah, it's going to get real nuts around here, man. You watch. Saka says, XRP volume, 3.5x of Bitcoin on Coinbase. #1 across all perps DEX aggregated. That's crazy. Any kind of inflow of the market, no matter the source, is always appreciated. The money is already there. Now you just need to be a good storyteller so some of it's redirected to your bags. Yes, a lot of that, by the way, a lot of that money flowing from XRP right now. People are going to take profits. We're already seeing a lot of people posting about taking profits around the recent price zone. That's going to flow back into Bitcoin, flow back into other altcoins. People are going to go buy Dogecoin, all this kind of stuff, right? We just created $150 billion of new crypto wealth in the last few weeks. That's crazy, man. Of course, Stellar Lumens went on a big run. Cardano went on a big run. Hedera Hashgraph went on a big run. Nothing like XRP, but gosh darn, there's been a lot of big moves from some of these older cycle coins right here in the past few days. So absolutely crazy. And these are wild volume numbers without a doubt. Marty Party, here you're sharing this one. He says, XRP volume came from Upbit Global. The Korean exchange blockchain and analytics firm Scopescan reported via X that the recent rise in Ripple XRP token was led by the Koreans. They added Upbit's XRP trading volume in the past 24 hours, 3.8 billion, 11 times that of Bitcoin, which was larger than Binance's trading volume. BitThumb's trading volume in the same period, $1.2 billion, accounting for 32% of the exchange's total trading volume, according to CoinMarketCap. XRP currently, blah, blah, blah. So that's crazy, man. Koreans apparently love XRP, but XRP just seeing huge trading volumes right across the board. Massive hype, wildness going on right now. And of course, if you want to be trading XRP, whether the long...
Nope.
Now for XRP, very, very big things happening. So it looks like that SEC crusade against XRP is coming to an end. Okay? SEC's losing in court. The...
Eat shit, Gary.
Ripple Labs is going to win, okay? And that opens up the door for all kinds of stuff. Because guess what? Now XRP has regulatory clarity in that situation. We are going to get XRP ETFs probably in the next few months. As soon as we get a new SEC chair, we're going to get XRP ETFs. So we'll get other stuff too.
You think so? XRP ETFs? Is that wishful thinking? You guys think so? Yeah? DDA, you think so?
Wishful ETFs, whatever. But You cannot deny the popularity of XRP as an asset, okay? Look at the last few days. Look at the last few weeks. People going gaga about XRP. It's going nuts, and we're going to...
Shout out to Crypto for Seniors. Thank you very much for the $9.99 super chat. He said, thanks for the stream. Love to get my crypto fix from the daily grind. Hit those like buttons, guys. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you so much for that.
An ETF for it soon, which will drive even more crazy. It's the anticipation of an ETF is driving people crazy. We also have this, and this is driving interest in a lot of US-based cryptocurrencies like Hedera Hashgraph and Cardano, Stellar Lumens, but no other cryptocurrency has been as much of a beneficiary of this narrative as XRP, and that is that Donald Trump has proposed that there will be no capital gains tax on U.S. crypto coins, aka all the ones I just mentioned. XRP is a U.S.-issued cryptocurrency, okay? They'll probably throw Bitcoin and maybe Litecoin. Yeah, Litecoin's a U.S. crypto.
Is Caspa U.S. crypto? Does anybody know? Let me know. I don't know where it was created.
Cryptocurrency too, isn't it? Anyway, XRP, again, stands to gain.
For the love of God, tell me it is. Please tell me it is.
Massively in this situation. I mean, think about this. If there's only 10 cryptocurrencies that you can trade as an American that aren't going to be capital gains taxed, obviously, you're going to go buy them. XRP is going to be one of the biggest ones of those. New York regulators may approve Ripple's
Paladin says Caspa is Israel. Is it really? Damn it.
LUSD stablecoin by December 4th, according to Fox Business. Now, this is absolutely huge. Huge. Now, look, I, for a long time, have been critical of the XRP ledger model, right? We don't need those cheap transactions in an era when you can send USDC across Solana or across Base or whatever for fractions of a penny. Well, now the RLUSD stablecoin is coming. So what does that mean? That means that XRP Ledger is now officially in the stablecoin business. Well, from the time that it gets approved, obviously, which could be by the time you're even watching this. We might haven't gotten approval. And that's, of course, massive because this is going to be a New York regulator approved stablecoin, AKA it could very quickly rise to be one of the most important stablecoins in the business. Imagine how funny it would be if after all these years of Tether diligently out there fighting the good fight, providing liquidity for all the degens in crypto, Ripple Labs just comes in with like hundreds of billions of dollars and becomes the biggest stablecoin overnight. There'll be something funny about that. Anyway, besides the point, people
wait, real quick. How can they say, how could he make it for only American-based cryptos? You don't have to pay whatever taxes on that. I don't understand that at all, actually. Because if you live here and you're still trading a cryptocurrency, it doesn't have like a traditional market. How does he gauge that? That's kind of weird, to be honest.
I'm very excited about the launch of RLUSD. It is a game-changing moment, of course, for the XRP Ledger to launch this stablecoin. So very exciting to see that happen for XRP holders. This dude here said Ripple just minted $40 million RLUSD under the XRP Ledger. That means XRP was just burned. Of course, that starts now that we start seeing a lot of stuff happening on the XRP Ledger. You'll start to see more XRP being burned over time. Now, previously, this has been a tiny fraction of XRP. But if you start seeing real economic activity, like we're talking trillions and trillions of dollars being transferred every single day, which could happen, then things change dramatically for the XRP burn rate. So we'll see how that plays out. CEO.
Let's see what the price of XRP is right now. Someone asked if it was still pumping. No, it's not. $2.56, down 5% on the day.
German VC firm explains how XRP will become the world's reserve bridge currency. Of course, that's been the dream, hasn't it? For as long as I've been talking about XRP, you know about XRP, this has been the dream, the world reserve bridge currency. Now that we have the RLUSD stablecoin, this could indeed become a reality. Let's see. Big if true. And even Brad Garlickhouse, he is going to be on 60 Minutes. Now, I wonder if that marks like the short-term local top for XRP here. Get Brad on 60 Minutes. That's the big thing. RLUSD launches next couple days, and that marks the sort of the high watermark for now for XRP because, and you know, XRP lovers, do not take this the wrong way, but you guys have had a hell of a run recently, okay? And
it needs a pullback.
The RSI on the weekly is like, I mean, come on, it's been up 500% basically. That's insanity, dude.
Look at the oversold. That thing's crazy high. You guys would be nuts to think we're not going to get some sort of pullback.
The RSI right here is reaching levels historically where we've seen a major correction come in afterward.
Like, oh, fuck, candles coming. See ya.
It's okay. That doesn't mean it's the end. That doesn't mean that it can't go higher later on in the cycle. Doesn't mean it can't push a little bit higher still before a major correction / consolidation distribution period comes in.
That's also very true. It doesn't mean it can't go higher. It just needs to cool off a minute to get people excited again to jump back in.
But it will come, okay? And that shouldn't enrage people. That should be, for the XRP believers, a chance to accumulate more. For people who want to get a better entry for a trading position, a chance to do that. There's been no pullbacks at all in the last month. It's just been up only, which has been absolute insanity. So look here.
I mean, we like up.
Okay, last time we had this kind of an RSI reading for XRP. Here, a few examples here. So this is currently at 91.3 or something like that. Here we had 95.8, so again, it can go a little bit higher. But that 95.8, after weeks and weeks of, again, up only for XRP, saw a massive correction come in. Here, 60%. That was brutal. Then we had a similar situation here, where we had, again, a gigundous run-up. Boom, look at that. 1,200% run-up. Insanity. Followed by another massive correction of 60%. Now, this is back in 2017. Markets were a bit different back then, okay? Just FYI. So you can see a scenario like this where you have major markup, plateau, consolidation, correction. I'm not saying it's going to be a 60% correction. I'm not sure that's the most likely scenario based on the current market cap of XRP, at least not in a short time frame. Maybe you have a few months of price consolidation, for example. But that's kind of how the game works. Now, here back in 2020, this was sort of when XRP... around the time the lawsuit started, which just was total BS. And I said at the time it was total BS. And it ended up being, of course, a giant pile of crap, wasted everyone's time. But look here, we got to 86 on the RSI, followed by a massive correction. So basically, you can see, and of course, the cycle top here in January 18, we had this ridiculously large arrow off of here. We had an RSI again of 95 here at $3.30 or whatever, followed by a massive correction, okay? Now, I'm not saying it's the end of the market cycle for XRP. XRP's got fuel left in the tank. The entire cycle's got fuel left in the tank, which means that XRP has fuel left in the tank. That being said, a correction is probably going to be coming in sooner than later, okay? You can't keep having a chart looking like that with nothing happening, without a correction happening, okay? Price may go a little bit higher between here and an inevitable correction, or the correction could already be starting, okay? I don't think we're going to go down, round trip the whole thing back to 50 cents. No. A much more logical scenario is that's going to come back down to, well, key areas of price support, somewhere like the $1.70, $1.80 region, for example. So you get a bit of a pullback, price consolidates in this range for a while, and then it breaks out in a few weeks or something, or January, February, or whenever the next big move is going to come, then it goes again. Starts into price discovery, new all-time highs, et cetera, et cetera. That's actually normal and healthy. This is actually an unhealthy looking chart. As exciting as it is, it's actually pretty damn silly, and a correction would actually be a healthy thing to help reset the RSI, help cool things down a little bit, consolidate, allow for distribution to happen, allow for reaccumulation to happen before pushing higher. That's not crazy. That ain't crazy, guys. Okay, so if you're thinking about rushing into an XRP position right now, you've got the FOMO, you've seen it go up 500% in a month, and you think, gosh darn, now's the time to buy. You might get better buying opportunities in the not so distant future. Okay, let's just leave it at that. Obviously, it's not financial advice. That's just one man's opinion on what he sees on the charts. Lots of cool catalysts coming that could see the price of XRP continue higher. But they're all kind of happening right now. So maybe those things happen. People realize it's not going to be an immediate second of, new paradigm of money. XRP dominates the entire universe tomorrow, and you have a bit of cooldown period. Let me know what you think. Am I wrong? Is it just going to keep pumping? Are we going straight to price discovery ASAP, or is it finally time for a cool off after one of the most epic runs of any asset of the year?
What do you guys think? Let me know. Lark left out XRP schedule unlocks. Yeah, I don't know those either, so I'm not going to speak on it. All right, Michael Saylor, Bitcoin is about to get out of control. Last but not least, Altcoin Daily. Let's do it. If you guys don't know who they are, 1.52 million subs. Go check them out. Links in the description.
I think it's going to surge through the roof, and then it's going to surge to 180 and crash.
Billionaire Michael Saylor explains why he believes the price of Bitcoin will surge to $180,000 per coin, then crash.
That was a pretty bullish statement. 180K.
Here's what you need to know.
Okay.
Other billionaires are starting to get angry about this.
There was a tweet, if you pull up Michael Saylor's tweets,
calling Michael Saylor crazy.
Oh, I think it's like crazy, stupid, behavior.
Let me share with you the whole video, as well as pretty telling altcoin news. Keep watching.
MicroStrategy adding to its Bitcoin hoard, purchasing 15,400 Bitcoin at about $95,000, $96,000 per Bitcoin for a total cost of $1.5 billion. The company's executive chairman tweeted, we hodl more than 400,000 Bitcoin. Join us now, Michael Saylor, MicroStrategy executive.
And I will say, it is not just MicroStrategy. Yes, MicroStrategy holds the most Bitcoin on their balance sheet, but this is global. Here are the top 60 companies, publicly traded companies, as of yesterday.
Dude, 402,000 Bitcoin MicroStrategy holds. That's insane.
All buying Bitcoin, then rinsing and repeating and buying again. Take Marathon Digital, for example.
Mara is a great example. 2 weeks ago, they did a $1 billion convert, zero coupon to buy Bitcoin. This week, they're back in the market doing another $1 billion convert, zero coupon to buy Bitcoin. You can rinse and repeat that frequently.
And if you're asking why would a publicly traded company want Bitcoin on their balance sheet? Michael Saylor explains.
Here's what you need to know.
Okay.
The S&P is about 15 ARR for the past 4 years, and the volatility of the S&P is 15.
Okay.
If you want to own a commodity like silver or soybeans or gold, they have very, very low performance, less than 15%, 5%, 0%. You don't really want to hold soybeans for 100 years. And sometimes they have volatility, but it doesn't last that long. Bitcoin is 60 volatility, 60 ARR, and it is a legal commodity, but it is an economic scarcity. It is the only commodity invented in the history of the human race that's absolutely capped. And so that means you can expect it to keep going up. If I can give you a commodity that outperforms the S&P index, if I can give you a commodity that's more volatile than the S&P index, you can put 100% of your liquid assets in that commodity per SEC rules. I can't do it with a security, by the way. So up until Bitcoin, people had to use gold or real estate as their commodity, or they have to use the U.S. Treasury bill. Those are all underperforming the S&P, and they're less volatile. Bitcoin is the first thing you can use in your Treasury that's more volatile, that outperforms the S&P. The result is, if I give you a security, Joe, that outperforms the S&P, how much of it do you want to buy? And if you're an ARB or an options trader, and I give you an option that is 4x the volatility of the S&P, or with MicroStrategy, we're 10x the volatility of the S&P, how much of it do you want to trade? So Bitcoin's unique in the history of the capital markets. It's the first scarcity commodity, outperforming the S&P, more volatile than the S&P, that you can put on your balance sheet.
Also breaking news, Donald Trump has just tapped pro-crypto Paul Atkins to replace Gary Gensler as SEC chair. Gary Gensler was horrible for the crypto industry, so anybody would be better, but a pro-crypto guy is even better. Here's what you need to know, that while this has been confirmed by 3 sources, Trump is still waiting for Atkins to confirm whether or not he will accept the offer. If he chooses not to accept the nomination, it would be up to Trump then to select another candidate for the role. If Atkins chooses to accept, the nomination will then be subject to Senate confirmation. And how do we know his history? What specifically is his pedigree? Well, Atkins, who served as SEC commissioner during the George W. Bush administration, has actively supported the crypto sector since his departure from the commission. Since 2017, he has been co-chairing the Token Alliance at the Digital Chamber of Commerce and has been advising digital finance firms on regulatory matters through his consultancy. The minute I get more information on this, I will keep you updated, but all this is positive and does support Michael Saylor's price projection.
Volatility sometimes is not always a good thing. I mean, it's great when something's going higher, but don't think that there'll be a drop or a significant drop that comes along? Have we moved past that because of the regulatory changes that have taken place?
I think it'll remain volatile because it's a 24/7, 365 global asset. You can panic sell it on Saturday night. You can enthusiastically buy it on Sunday morning. That's a feature. That's not a bug.
Yeah, you've lived through some of the swings, but do you think we won't see the downturns like we've seen in the past just because of the changes we've seen?
I think it's going to surge through the roof, and then it's going to surge to 180 and crash to 140, and people will be freaking out about it again.
And he's going to hold it the whole time, just like last time. He's going to buy more.
But let me make this one analogy. Volatility is like fire, and some people run away from the fire. But Henry Ford put the fire into a carriage via an engine, created an entire industry, and he gave humanity wings.
If you've made it this far in today's video and you feel you got value today, click subscribe. We are interviewing Michael Saylor in a few weeks, so turn the bell notification on so you can get the alpha first.
I hope that's a long interview. I hope it's long.
Data does show that 1 in 5, about 20% of you, do have on all notifications so you get this crypto alpha first. And let's talk about altcoins, but it is interesting that other multimillionaires, if not billionaires, are triggered by Michael's pumping of Bitcoin, saying it's crazy.
Oh, I think it's like crazy, stupid, behavior. Is other folks are moving the treasury. So there was a tweet, if you pull up Michael Saylor's tweets, he is pumping all day long, this stuff. And by pumping, I mean sharing memes, or telling other people what they should do. So pull up Michael Saylor's tweets, and if you look at his replies, if you scroll down, in his replies specifically, you'll see him saying other people should move their treasuries into Bitcoin. And Rumble's...
Has it not worked out for him? Like, insanely worked out for him? Like, I'd say it too.
Said they're going to buy 20 billion. And then there's another company I'd never heard of that does Bitcoin mining that now they're also selling loans or trying to, do this convertible debt into Bitcoin. So I think what's happening here is they're trying to do a squeeze.
And speaking of altcoin news, Ondo Finance just reached an all-time high. Altcoin Daily subscribers are loving this because over 7 months ago, we told you about Ondo and our top 5 RWA coins for 2024. Now, the reason they're pumping, BlackRock continues to transfer funds to Ondo. BlackRock's frequent transactions show the reliability of Ondo Finance, meaning BlackRock sees the value, as well as Binance, although this one's a little more in secret. But Binance keeps accumulating Ondo. They are buying every week more and more quantity. They will list Ondo, be ready. The real pump is coming. This is just speculation. Although it's not listed on Binance today, why would they be accumulating if they didn't need enough liquidity to be able to do the listing? We'll see. Also, another interesting piece of news, I'm going to like this. Trump's new pick for the SEC chair has direct ties to Ondo. Ondo has been working with BlackRock and Securitize, powering their multi-chain expansion. Paul Atkins, the new SEC chair pick, is on the Securitize advisory board, meaning Trump's new pick, if accepted, could be another major catalyst. Anybody that wants $50 to...
Nope. All right. That's it. Get into the recap segment of things. Anybody just joining? Bitcoin, $96,000. Ethereum, $37.26. Looking pretty good. We got BNB up 20% today. Absolutely killing it. $774. We got Solana, $232. TRX over here, 38 cents, up 62% today. Freaking insane. Absolutely insane. ETC is killing it too. $36. I think ETC is a sleeper. I think it's gonna just explode when people start actually getting into crypto, like the just mainstream adoption showing up, and all these, you know, retail investors, normal people, everyday Joes getting in. I bought ETC first because it was cheap when I was on the exchange, and Coinbase puts it right there in front of you. So who knows? Caspa 16.3. Caspa's up almost 6.5% today. Let's see. Well, that just moved. That was weird. ICP over here up 6.8% to $15.14. Let's see what else. Dogecoin looking real good, 41 cents. I think Dogecoin still has a bunch of room to grow, but at the same time, it's all about the market caps, man. It's all about the market caps. It's hard to double to 80 cents with a $60 billion market cap, right? So we're gonna get, I don't know, that'd put us at a 1.2, right, trillion. And I mean, we saw things with sorry, what am I saying? It'd be 100 billion. What am I saying? I am losing it today. $120 billion. I don't know. It could happen. It could happen. But the problem with Dogecoin is it's just unlimited unlimited supply of tokens, right? The max supply is, they can just keep printing it. So I don't know. We're gonna have to see what happens. I think Dogecoin does have some sort of future once the DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, comes to fruition with Mr. Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and Vivek over there. We have H-bar down about 8.5% today, 31 cents. Looking pretty decent. BitTensor over here, almost $700, up 13.8%. Killing it. I did not click on that. Weird. I don't know why that went there. All right, crypto bubbles over here. Biggest earner of the day, it's TRX, 61% again, 38 cents. Sands looking pretty good over here. The Sandbox, one of the metaverse coins, right? 96 cents. Shout out to Dan R, my man. I bought some of this in Coinbase. Let's see. HDX is up 36.5%. I don't know what this is, to be honest. 54. Ranked 54th out of the top 100 coins. What am I doing? What does this plus button do? How do I change? Oh, here it is. The week. Oh, damn. This thing's really up. Month. God damn. It's actually passed its year high. Interesting. Nice. Very nice. ApeCoin 23% up on the day, looking pretty good over here too. All right, flashbang. Let's see. Crypto fear and greed index at a 78 again. Extreme greed 75 is where I like to see this thing at, but 78 is not too far off. It's not like we're pinging up here in the 90s. This overall market is not even close to its peak. That's just my opinion. But again, be fearful when people are greedy, and greedy when people are fearful. That's how it goes. With that being said, you guys have a great, fantastic Wednesday. If you're in New England, or at least in my area, we're gonna get snow later on tonight into tomorrow. So I don't know if I'll be here tomorrow. I might have to do the snow blower dad shit because I gotta do my whole street. It's a private road. So yeah, it's gonna be a long morning for me, I'm sure, unless I'm up all night. I don't know, I'll figure it out, but I'll let you guys know. Either way, I'm gonna be dropping a video a little bit later. I gotta get a few things situated, then I'll throw it out this afternoon. You guys have a good one. I'll catch you soon. Peace out and happy hump day.
to her, we don't talk to her.